As a reminder, you need to have at least 5 sources for your research paper. 2 of them should be print sources. Those can be books, magazines, newspaper articles, or encyclopedias. 2 electronic. In our databases, those are academic journals, critical essays, viewpoints articles, video and audio, and then an interview with an expert that you'll do through your history class. We're using the Kansas Library databases and the Gale databases, and you always want to make sure to use the full text only and advanced search options. When you're looking at the examples of articles when you've done your searches, these are the ways you can differentiate between the print ones and the electronic ones. So notice underneath the first column, those are the print sources: news, magazines, reference, statistics, and then primary sources. Those are going to be documents that come from an original time period that were produced by somebody then and not by somebody later. Electronic sources will be the ones on the right-hand side: the viewpoints articles, academic journals, websites, interactive maps, videos, audio, critical essays, those types of sources. There's a couple things that a good source will do. Number 1, it should be at least 2 pages. I know it's very tempting to want to get something that's shorter, but you may not be able to have a lot of information if it's not at least 2 pages. Probably aiming for 5 to 10 pages is a really good bet, at least for electronic sources. If it's longer than 15 to 20, make sure it's a really good source because you're going to have to read the whole thing. A good source will also add a new angle, so it's going to look at your topic in a way that's different from the rest of your sources. It should be opinionated. You want to stay away from the encyclopedias as much as possible, unless you're just trying to establish some basic facts about your subject. A good source will also contain good quotes. Keep in mind that a quote can be any sentence in an article. It doesn't have to already be in quotation marks. But the best way to have evidence to prove your point in an essay is to be using quotes from articles that match what you're trying to say. And then last, it should match your topic. That means you're going to have to do a lot of digging. You're not going to find the best sources the first time you do a search. There's a reason why I've given you 2 weeks to find your sources. It's because it's going to take you a while to find the best things. We looked at some of these the other day. This is the Symbaloo page that you get through Destiny on the computers. In the upper right-hand corner, we looked at those databases: the Student Resources and Context, Opposing Viewpoints, and the Kansas Library databases. But there's some other ones on this page that might help you as well. The Purdue OWL, Citation Machine, and EasyBib in the second row are useful for your citations, as well as figuring out how to incorporate quotes. The Purdue OWL, which is the online writing lab, is really good for that. So clicking on those 3 buttons will take you to those websites. And then the rest of the ones that I've circled here: the Smithsonian, New York Times, CNN, BBC, National Geographic, Kansas City Star, and the World Factbook. Those are all really good sites for finding news articles, as well as some other information that might be useful for some of your topics. You can talk to me if you're not sure if you should use those or not. When you're going to the Kansas Library databases, there's a couple of extra steps after you click the first link from the Symbaloo page. You need to click first Collections and Resources, which you can see is circled here. Then you're going to want to click where the circle shows, click here to view a complete list of the online resources. Once you've clicked that, you'll be on this main page here. And remember, do not use the master search. You do not want to search all the databases at once because it will take too long. You need to go to each database one at a time. The 4 best databases for everyone are here on the top of the screen: Academic Search Premier, Newspaper Source Plus, the History Reference Center, and the Legal Collection. I would recommend starting with Academic Search Premier, and then jump to either the newspaper, the History Reference Center, or the Legal Collection, depending on your topic of interest. When you're choosing a source, there's a couple things you should keep in mind. Number 1 is the type, and it will tell you, is it a journal, is it a periodical, which is like a newspaper, is it a video, is it a critical essay? It will tell you what type of source it is. You should also look at the date. Pretty much anything after the year 2000 can be considered recent. You want to try to get articles that are as recent as possible. You also want to make sure that you have full text selected so that you're only going to get articles that you'll be able to use. And take a look at the number of pages. Like we talked about before, it's important that you get articles that have a decent amount of information. So now process is to gather your materials, sort through them, eliminate the ones you don't need, read what's left, and then eliminate some more. Research can often seem like you're piling paper on top of paper on top of paper. But in the end, it will help you find the best articles, which will help you write the best paper possible. So for now, go through the library, go through the online databases, keep track of everything you find. Once you've found something you know you want to use, go ahead and print it off. Other than that, you might save electronic copies until you're pretty sure you know which sources you're going to use. Please see me if you have any questions.